establish quorum and then move into the meeting and try to create as much space as we can on the backside for some share opportunity for some share outs, what's happening in your local area with your programs and your communities, as well as what's been happening, kind of some bigger legislative things that we might be experiencing, and just kind of reconnect personally at the tail end if we can. So Ashley, would you be willing to help us move through roll?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I have just been going through who is attending right now, and it looks like we've established quorum. Yep, great.
We're there. Okay.
We're there.
Did anyone need access to or need a minute here? Good, Brooke. Hello to you. A minute here to refresh yourself on the minutes from the April 10th meeting. Those are now up for consideration and approval. And as soon as folks are ready, I'd be looking for a motion.
I move that we approve the April 2025 minutes as included in our packet.
Thank you, Brooke. Motion to approve. May I hear a second?
I'll second.
Oh, I got lots of people. Who wants to claim that one? Belinda. I'm going to send that Belinda's way. Belinda has motion for a second. May I have a thumbs up on your screen, please, if you wish to approve the minutes as presented? Okay, I'm seeing all board members with thumbs up, Ashley, including myself. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda, we are open for public comment. Is there anybody present with us today that wishes to provide public comment? I do not see anybody. Ashley, anybody submit anything for?
No, but nobody submitted. Yeah, nobody submitted any public comment.
All right, closing the public comment section. I think, could we just do a quick going around the horn and make sure that we have acknowledged any guests that are new to us today? OCB interns in the chat.
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to call out, this is Hillary. We have, it looks like at least 2 of our summer interns from the Oregon Commission for the Blind. Each summer, we try to invite interns to work with us at the HEC, and they serve for about 4 to 5 weeks. It just depends on their availability. But we have Micah, who just came on camera on the call, and then Daniela, who goes by Danny, is also on the call. So thanks, folks, for attending. I believe that Danny is most interested in, now I'm gonna get it wrong, behavioral health, like going into a career related to behavioral health. And Micah seems very interested in doing government related work and social advocacy work. And correct me if I'm wrong, either Micah or Danny. Okay, thumbs up from Micah. Great.
All right, I tell you what,
so
let's
thank
wait
you for being here. And just so that folks on the call know, it might be easier if you have a moment to remember to announce who's speaking. So that might just be a nice quick thing to say so that it's easier for the interns to follow along. So when you come on the thing, say, it's Jim, blah, blah, blah.
All right, I will implement that now. It's Jim. And in my first, how about also we add in the first go round, kind of quickly say who you are and what you're doing and who you represent on that first time sharing, and that will help Danny, and I'm assuming likes to go by Danny, and Micah and Emily soon. And what I'd ask then also, Danny, Micah, and Emily, when she gets here, let's wait till Emily's here, and then I'll ask each of you to do an introduction. That might be held until the very tail end, but we'd love to hear about you and what you're doing and what you're looking forward to do. So Hillary had a hand up, or nope? Okay, thumbs up. All right. So I am Jim. I am a co-chair of this board. I work at Oregon Housing. I am in the disaster recovery world, but I'm also heavily engaged with programs with youth working on projects that support homeless crisis and disaster crisis recovery. And that's how I came to become a part of this board and this work. I'm going to ask Brooke, while I've got you on screen, would you mind introducing yourself to our intern guests?
Hi there. My name is Brooke Brownlee. I am the Senior Manager of Labor, Workforce, and Community Engagement at Portland General Electric. Very nice to meet you all.
So we are your co-chairs, and then board, I'll ask everyone to find a place and time as we move into the meeting to please introduce self, and we'll get through everybody by the time we get through this, if that sounds good. Doug, if we can stay on schedule, we're going to jump into legislative and budget recap, please, if you're ready.
Yep, will do. Hi all, this is Doug. I do have one quick announcement. I don't know where to throw it in, but it's exciting enough that I'm just going to screw up your agenda, Jim. I'm sorry. And let folks know that JJ, who we met when we were down in Coos Bay, is officially, as of yesterday, been appointed to this board. And he wasn't able to join today, but he's super excited, and we'll be meeting with him next week to help him get onboarded. So, so that is super cool. I'm not seeing everybody's faces on my screen because I've got it split. It looked like, did somebody's hand go up, or no, that's a chat. Okay, so just a quick legislative update, not to try to get too geeked out over what the bill numbers were, but just what passed and what didn't pass and kind of why that's important to us as we sit here today. The House Bill 3940, which was the omnibus wildfire funding bill, it did pass. We were not part of that bill. There was potential for us to be a part of that bill for Oregon Conservation Corps, but we received some funding through a different mechanism. Senate Bill 83, which is a wildfire policy bill, it passed. It was one that could have or could not have been somewhat controversial, and it wasn't, which was awesome. The main thing that did is it repealed the WUI maps. And the reason we have, kind of a part of that is that the Oregon Conservation Corps grants require the grantees to make sure that their projects are fit within this map in different categories. So it does do one thing for us as well. It changes our requirement to report biannually to report annually. So we'll have to figure out what time of year makes the most sense for that, make sure that that's cool with the governor's office and cool with the Wildfire Programs Advisory Council. And we will be telling them all the great things that we're doing twice in a biennium rather than just once. Yeah, there was a technical bill that I'm not going to get into that. An important one was House Bill 5006, which was the end of session bill, or what everybody refers to as the Christmas tree bill. It's kind of all those last little funding pieces that didn't get funded elsewhere that they get worked into budgets. And HEC did receive $5 million for Oregon Conservation Corps through that. The end of session bill, which is awesome. It's one-time funding again. So I mean, the battle remains to get this thing funded at current service level. But such a relief and a miracle, especially during this budget cycle, as tough as it was for us to get that money. And Hillary, I'll give you a shout out. I think a lot of it has to do just with the administration of the program and how well the program has performed. So what do we got here? That doesn't really apply to us. One that does apply to us that did pass, but we ended up being a part of it, was House Bill 2007. There was a summer learning. Well, there were a couple of bills that focused on summer learning, and we were part of a work group with the governor's office and with Department of Education last year to try to figure out what are the best practices, let's make recommendations for legislative action during this session. And it really just kind of switched gears a little bit and became more of a summer literacy bill, which didn't include the types of programming that we have in the summer traditionally. So that was disappointing, but the good news is that there is still money going out the door to school districts to work on summer literacy and learning this summer. The couple that died, Senate Bill 82 was the bill that was going to give specific funding for Oregon Conservation Corps. It was asking for $10 million in general fund with a $5 million, an additional $5 million that would be given to the HEC if we could raise a 1-to-1 match. That one died in committee. There was one Senate Bill 209. It would have given a tax break to to the OEP providers, the Oregon Youth Employment Program providers. That one, that's just a tough one because you're giving a tax break to just one individual program, and it died very quickly. And the other one that died that was painful for me was House Bill 3029, and that was HEC's workforce bill. And what that was going to do, it was going to really modernize the language for Oregon Youth Corps. We had originally wanted to do more than that, but that's where we kind of landed as an agency, and that one was killed. So we'll have to start over from ground zero and see if we want to try to tackle that in a short session, or if we want to go ahead and focus on the long session to do a larger cleanup. So with that, I mean, HEC's overall budget's right around $4 billion. HEC didn't get everything that they wanted or necessarily had in the last biennium, but overall, HEC as an agency, the budget fared very well for the session. So that's my update, Jim.
Great, thank you. May I open it up for questions? Anybody has a question for Doug on anything you heard? Comments or musings? All right, without a response, I would like to take this opportunity. We're a touch ahead. Thank you everyone for your efficiency. And Raina, hello, welcome you in. Member of the board, so glad that you're with us. Would you mind terribly introducing self and give us all just a little bit of a brief background, and then I'm going to ask all the board members to introduce yourselves in kind with your tight, concise model, and then we'll introduce our three interns, and then everybody should know each other on screen. Okay, Raina, to you, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Rana. I'm the executive director of Portland Youth Builders. We'll be celebrating 30 years of helping low-income, primarily BIPOC young people get into skilled labor. Our hope is to help these young people who do not follow the traditional route of college, live out their dreams of being able to buy a home and take care of their family. That's our goal. I am a licensed clinician by trade. I joined this board a while ago and haven't been able to attend because I didn't know it was a face-to-face component. And Salem is pretty far for me out in Portland. So I'm happy anytime that it is virtual, and I'm excited to work along with you all, and I got some catching up to do.
Glad you are with us. Thank you so much. And we'll disclose to folks that in my previous iteration as a contractor in Portland Youth Builders was one of my core places to turn for persons coming into the industry. So absolutely fantastic work that you're doing there, and grateful that you're with us. Could we turn to our other board members? And I'm gonna just go across the row. If I miss anybody, I'm just looking at the faces on the screen. Rena, could I lead into you to kick off, and we'll follow that with by David?
Sure. Rena Langston, I'm the program director for the Southwestern Oregon Workforce Investment Board. So we are a recipient of Department of Labor funds to provide employment and training services for Coos, Curry, and Douglas counties.
Thank you. To David, followed by Brian Bond, please.
Hey, I'm Davey Pearson. I work for a place called Discovery Air Force. We're a nonprofit out in Central Oregon. I'm the Volunteer and Career Pathways Program Manager.
Thank you. Brian, and then followed by Belinda.
Brian Bond, I'm the internship coordinator with the Mount Here Works internship program over here in Eastern Oregon. Work with the Frontier STEM Hub, Mount Here ESD.
Thank you, Brian. Belinda?
Hello, everyone. Chimisun Wee. We just presented to a youth crew this morning in Ashland, Oregon. My name is Belinda Brown. I'm the Tribal Partnerships Director with Lomacatsi Restoration Project. We're a 30-year-old nonprofit. We've been doing youth programming since our inception. We have 3 crews on the ground, tribal stewards. There's out in the Steens Mountains today, out there in Eastern Oregon, Harney County. We have 8 youth out there, young adults. We also are really excited. We just championed through Forest and Conservation Specialist occupation with the Department of Labor, and we're getting ready for our pre-apprenticeship program in the state of Oregon and California. We are on the ETPL list, and so we're figuring all that out. We're also an accredited corps, and so that gives us the status of being able to have Public Land Corps hiring authority. So 640 hours for our Public Land Corps hiring authority and our corps. All the participants that go through that have direct and preference hire with federal agencies. And then our new apprenticeship program is 2,000 hours. And we're really excited. We don't have any participants signed up yet, but we are excited to get that moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Belinda. And Brooke, may I return to you for introduction again?
Hello, hello again. Brooke Brownlee. I am the Senior Manager of Labor, Workforce, and Community Engagement for Portland General Electric.
Hillary, could I turn to you and ask you to guide us through staff and leadership?
Yeah, happy
on the
to.
HEC side of the world? Thank you.
Put on a sweatshirt and everything. Yeah, I'm Hillary Blackstone. My pronouns are she, her. I am a member of the Oregon Youth Works team in the Office of Workforce Investments at the HEC. And I work primarily on Oregon Conservation Corps grants, which is a fuels reduction and fire adapted communities grant meant to empower young folks to be the land managers of tomorrow. I'm a transplant from Idaho, and that's just a fun fact. Trying to make it personal. I've been here for about 3 years and love working with Office of Workforce Investments. Let's go to, I'm going to put over to Doug, I guess, and then I guess Ashley.
Hey everybody, Doug Denning with Office of Workforce Investments. I'm a program and policy analyst, as well as serve as the director of this advisory board.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley. I am support for OE and Oregon Youth Works and the board admin for the board. So see a lot of emails from me. And just a little background, I was in both the California and the Washington Conservation Corps, which instilled in me a deep love for AmeriCorps and public service. So that is why I'm here. I will pass it on to Miranda and Matt.
Hi there, I'm Miranda Scheiding. I'm the program manager in the Office of Workforce Investments, and I'll pass it on to Matt. And Matt, can you intro the interns for us too, please?
Yeah, happy to. Hi all, Matt Collins with the Oregon Youth Works. My title is Oregon Youth Works Program Coordinator. I get to work with all the different programs, and I'm also working on our foster youth grants as well. Pleasure to be here. Yeah, I would love to have a chance to introduce our 3 interns, Danny, Emily, and Micah. I did give them a preemptive warning that they may have to do introductions, so I hope this isn't too surprising. And it's been about, I think we're on week 3 with Emily and Danny, and Micah has started with us this week after being out of country for a little bit. We have had some really great different opportunities with them. They've come out on a site visit with Mike Norman and I to an Oregon Youth Corps grantee, and just got to do a lot of different things like informational interviews and career interest kind of things. So it's been a total pleasure to get to know them a bit, along with their job coach, Chad. And without further ado, I see Micah, you're on camera. So how about if you wouldn't mind doing an intro, and then maybe we can have Danny after Micah and then Emily after Danny.
All right, that works for me. I don't know if my mic's currently working. Is it working? Hello?
It's working.
Yeah,
Thank
we can
you.
hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, my name is Micah, pronouns he, they. I started this week. They were right. It was right to say that I am interested in advocacy work, but I am also interested in behavioral health, and that is what I plan to go to school for. Advocacy is just something that I feel that I need to do. I'm really interested in, and something to always be there to do as well alongside that. I don't know what else to say.
Great, Micah. Thank you so much. All right, Danny, how about you?
Hi, I'm Danny. Can you hear me?
Yep, hear you loud and clear. You're good.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, I'm Danny. I'm interested in behavioral health as well. I want to go into social work, or children and family counseling. Um, that's about all I have to say.
Wonderful, Danny. Thank you. Emily, would you be open to sharing a bit about yourself as well? There's a chance we'd be having some tech issues. We've been trying to encounter those too today. If we have time, I can run over to Emily.
Let's do that, and we'll continue to pass it amongst staff. Matt will go check in with Emily. Mike, could we pass it to you and continue to move it through the team?
Yep. So my name is Mike Norman. I'm new with HEC as of March. I'm with the Office of Workforce Investments as well in the Youth Works team. And I'm the administrator over the Oregon Youth Corps grants. Still working closely with Jeremy and Matt as they're helping me transition and get my feet wet. But it's been a great experience and happy to finally come to a board meeting with you all too. So thanks for having me.
Okay, and I am out of screen space, so I think there's more people here than I can see. So may I ask people who can either call out names, or would you introduce yourselves? And
this is Brian. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Okay, thanks. This is Brian Neese with the Office of Workforce Investments. Within the HEC, I administer a number of general fund and federal workforce training grants. Rita and I were talking about the maritime one earlier, which is exciting. That's about all I have, short and sweet, but I do have to leave for a little bit, but I'll be back shortly. I'm going to go talk to that director of the Charleston Marine Life. Unfortunately, summer is a little tough to schedule meetings, so I kind of had to stack them, but I shall return. But thanks. Great to be here.
I heard another
Hi.
voice.
Hi. So I am Aurea Paula Escobedo Rambo, and I have been part of the board since the beginning, formerly with the Next Door, but I did take a new position with Oregon State University as the Open Campus Coordinator for the Extension and Engagement Department, so here in Hood River and Wasco County. So it's a little bit of a different, thanks, Doug. So yeah, so I'm excited to kind of bring that perspective as well. The Next Door is a nonprofit, the largest one in the Gorge. And so I was a supervisor for our youth programs there. And then I decided to join Oregon State University, as I said, as the Open Campus Coordinator. And that is a position where we talk about college and career access, transfer student support, and just community engagement as well. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing if that brings another lens to this as well. So it's nice to see everyone, and thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I've got you on the screen now. Somebody was texting
Oh, yay!
me, close your chat and do this and do that. Now I can see everybody, so doing better. And then Matt, back to you. Okay, reading the chat.
Oops.
Oh, okay, you're with Emily.
No, I wasn't on mute. Sorry about that. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, it looks like we had a microphone issue come up with Emily's setup. So I'm in the room with her now, and I can hand this laptop over to her, and she'll just talk out of my screen for a moment.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. So my name is Emily, and I'm interested in computer science. I plan to go into college and get my computer science degree in a bachelor's degree. Sorry. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Well, once again, welcome to the interns. So glad you're all with us. And thank you, HEC Squad, for supporting such good work and including our youth in, you're going to be leading us in the future. So we're so glad you're with us now. And I see Ashley on the screen.
Yes, hi. My name is Ashley Wright. I work for the governor's office as the executive assistant for some of our policy advisors, including the higher education policy advisor. We actually just had a switch. It was Sarah Foster, and we loved her, but she has transitioned over to the Oregon Employment Department. So we're welcoming in a new higher education policy advisor. Her name is Sarah Means. She's really wonderful. I'm hoping to, I know, I'm so sad to lose her. She was wonderful to work for. But Sarah Means is just as great. I'm really excited to kind of have her step into that role. Yeah, you get to keep the same name. So I'm hoping, and I can work with Doug and Ashley for this, but for the next meeting, I'm hoping to bring Sarah Means in for just a quick introduction and to sit in and kind of introduce herself to the board and to the work that they're doing. So thanks for having me here. And I am happy to be sitting along and giving everything that you guys share over to the governor's office to see how we can best assist you as well.
Thank you, Ashley. Glad you're here. Okay, if I missed anybody, call it out now. Double checking. All right, we're all introduced. We're ahead of schedule. Let's continue to do that. That'll give us some space at the end. I'm going to ask for your blessing to move the October in-person board meeting to the end, and we'll stay on active current content. And so that would bring us up to the recap of the April board meeting. Mr. Doug Denning, if you'd lead us through that recap of our time together from the South Coast in April.
Absolutely. This is Doug. So it was a really good meeting, and I was, again, when the meeting was over, I was pretty jazzed just with the energy in the room of folks wanting to actually do things and move things forward, because we don't always get that kind of energy in with state boards, especially advisory boards. So again, thank you to all of you for just your commitment of time and the energy that you put into this. Really, at the end, where we came out is there were 4 main goals that the board decided is where we want to spend our time moving forward, knowing that there's going to be a lot of unknowns as we look at what's going on at the federal level, as we look at what's going to go on at the state level. Part of it because of what's going on at the federal level, and part of it not. So we know that we will have to be flexible, but these were the 4 things that folks wanted to really just jump into. The first one was around data and creating a data baseline of all the existing youth work programs across the state, and then doing a deep dive and start analyzing for gaps and see what we should or shouldn't be doing with our programs. There are a couple of things I wanted to just point out about that. There is data work going on within the HEC itself right now. There's a data governance committee that's looking at data across the entire agency. There's a data equity group that's looking at that across the agency. So whatever we decide to do with data, we'll need to really be in alignment with kind of where the agency is going as well. Or not necessarily alignment, but at least in concert, so that we're talking to each other. The second area was where there was a lot of excitement was over the employability skills. We talked about essential employability skills just kind of in general. We talked about the Oregon employability skills, which is going through the work has been led by the Workforce Readiness Committee through the state's Workforce Talent and Development Board, which is the state's workforce board, and really look at how we can help promote the platform that they have, and also recommendations on really where to take it and to facilitate any partnerships and new collaborations that we can to help continue and advance that work. There was energy around having a youth summit or some type of an educational forum, really around bringing youth together. We do a really good job, I think, of bringing providers together. Hillary just led the work for a very successful program lead training. And we do that well, but what do we do for the youth to actually bring them in? And so there was conversation around, would we want to try to do something as a standalone, which probably not, because we're not going to have the money to do that. But, could we tag along, or could we partner with either the Talent Summit or maybe a possible, YouthWorks training down the future? Who knows? But that was where we kind of left that conversation. And then the big one, which I think probably is one of the easier ones to get out and get and finish, is about driver's education and the need for folks to have affordable driver's education in their local communities. There are communities that have to drive to other counties. There are folks that cannot afford the expensive cost for the driver's training. It's been removed for the most part from the high schools. So really, how can we at least help promote and shout and hope that the message is heard? So, Jim, I'll turn it back to you. I mean, those were kind of the four things. I know that what you and Brooke and I have talked about was for next steps on this was to just do this quick overview, and then to really decide where folks want to spend their time, and to see where folks would like to help lead the work. If somebody's really interested in data and has the background, or wants to work on the Oregon employability skills, but I think probably more of a conversation, and to come away with assignments, if you will. So, Jim, I'll turn it back to you.
Great, thank you. And Ashley, I just want to do a double check, because we do have it on the agenda in terms of ranking board goals. We're doing this live and in the moment. Did you have a system of ranking that you wanted to bring into the mix right now, or do we want to move into that conversation approach?
Yes, I actually do have a form that I created. I will put the link in the chat right now. If everybody could just take a moment to respond. It
Fabulous.
can only take a moment. Thank you.
Okay, super. Thank you. Thank you. So give us some active in the moment data. Does everyone have access to those goals on your own screen? And maybe, Doug, we should possibly share those back up for reflection. If you need details around them.
Yeah, Ashley, could you post those back up?
Ashley. Thank you. Thank you. We've
Yeah,
got the 4 categories. Right. So to the right side, folks, if you're on the form, to the right side, you'll see a toggle up or down that helps you position the 4 in the 1, 2, 3, 4 that you would like to see them in. I'm going to do a quick check here in the moment. I think on our list of 4, we had
I just realized
driver's
that,
education.
yes,
right?
I need to add
Yep.
that right now. Yeah.
Thank you. Will we refresh our forms, or should we close out and open new?
Yeah, just give me about 1 minute to resolve it, and I'll read this link. Yeah.
Yeah, because it told me that my responses were incorrect.
That's weird. Okay, give me 1
Raina,
second.
there's
We
a correct answer and a wrong answer, and clearly yours was not the right one.
Mine
It shouldn't say
were
that. It
incorrect.
shouldn't say that. Give me 1 second.
I think this is loaded.
I think it's just set up as a quiz instead of a form. So she'll just edit it real quick, and we'll still be able to collect everybody's responses the same way.
I got 0 points.
Me too, Rena. Clearly, Ashley's got plans for the state of Oregon.
Anybody has a good 30 to 45 second story from the weekend?
May I share a story?
Please.
This is Hillary.
My husband and I bought a house, you guys. It is very stressful. I knew it was gonna be stressful, but it's even more stressful. And now we're gonna have a yard sale. So if you're in Salem, come hang out with us on Saturday. Have a yard sale. That's my story. Jim, I hope to see you. I'll send you my address.
Congratulations. Yes, and if I show up, my first question is going to be, do you have your 5 feet of Firewise hardening landscaping around your house?
My neighbor's house is really stressing me out, but she's, it'll be fine. It will be fine.
All right.
My house is, I think, okay. I should have rock instead of bark, but we'll work on it. My mesh grating seems great.
Thank you, Hillary. Okay, try this. Of course, everybody's watching, so I was panicking. That should not give you a score and should just allow you to rank it.
Okay, new link, everybody to open. Thank you.
Adulting is hard, huh, Hillary?
Oh, I was muted even. Yes, it is so hard. Yeah, but I think this is the better alternative to apartment life. I've already met a bunch of neighbors and a bunch of dogs, so it'll be okay. I've met at least 3 dogs, neighbor dogs. Can't remember their human names, but I can remember the dogs. Oh, and on the 4th of July, I got fed seafood paella from a neighbor, so I'm doing okay. Don't worry about me. I'm adulting, but I'm at least fed.
That's one of my favorites.
Same. I can't believe we got so lucky.
All right, check-in. Has everyone been able to hit the submit button? Board members?
I
Anybody
didn't
not
fail
able to? Okay. Anybody need a spot more time? All right, and then Ashley, when you're ready to share data. While that's collecting, I'm gonna, oh, you got it ready to go? Fantastic, thanks. Still incoming. We have 8 present, is it correct?
So I think everybody has responded.
So 8 members, yes, okay. All right, so there we go. Who would like to kick off the conversation on what do you see with those responses with regards to data? I see a tie for Youth Summit and driver's education recommendation, and then Oregon employability skills coming in the 4th position. So open for comments and questions. The goal here being to find where our collective energies and individual energies lie as we attempt to move these 4 goals into some form of action as a board. Does this data tell you? Linda?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, one of the top priorities that came up that might not be in our working groups was really having a recommendation to the governor for driver's education.
Yes, and that appears tied for kind of a collective 2nd place highlight. We didn't have a lot of data on the summary sheet.
Yeah, Jim, what I remember that popped out above even what our, how we were going to rank these other
because of the
things that
potential
we
to
were.
quickly get that
Yes,
into
yeah,
action. Okay.
yeah. That was actually our first recommendation.
Are there,
I know if everybody else remembers the same thing I do, but I remember that popping out as our first recommendation.
So if everybody can take kind of side notes, we see Data, Youth Summit, Driver's Ed, and OES in this forum. Hillary?
Sorry, just as a staff note, as the person who helps to put together events like youth summits and educational forums, since those two are tied, if what the action is related to number 3 that's currently on that list of recommendation to the governor, driver's education, if what that is essentially prioritizing the board, writing a letter, that will be, I think, an easier objective to achieve than hosting and putting on a youth summit or educational forum, just because we also don't know about who will pay for, how we will pay for that summit or forum.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a staff perspective from that regard.
So, Brian, to you, please.
Yeah, just on that point, I think to Belinda's point earlier too, is that I remember that one came out kind of at the end there as just a, hey, this is low hanging fruit. It takes very little effort. We can knock this out real quick. Regarding the driver's ed one.
Sorry, just making some notes here. And so what I'm doing is just putting in the chat the list. So I'd like us to either just go to screens or to the list of the goals with the details there, Ashley. So I'm going to spin the comments shared thus far into, is there anybody wanting or have particular energy around the driver's education recommendation, as seeing that as the most efficient both in time and needed talent in terms of like the energies that are going to be taken from our dailies to get that written, shared with the board, and potentially on its way to the governor's office. Anybody that has energy around that would be in a, our goal here, as Doug shared with us at the start of this, to be at a place by the close of our time together today where each of these items has, in some regard, some leadership from the board representing the item, and also doing some planning around potential timeframes in which we try to accomplish some of these goals. Doug?
Yeah, I just wanted to say too, with all 4 of these, I'll be working on all 4 with folks. So I'll be a part of those discussions and we'll be able to help staff and help. So it's not like we're gonna leave everybody hanging on their own out there once the assignments are made.
Thank you, Doug. Brian?
Just to your question, Jim, I was going to say I would happily throw my hat into the ring on that one. Digit, who isn't able to attend today, she actually had sent some draft information that she was very passionate about it and sent me some draft information already to start looking over. And I had discussions with my our coordinator and our superintendent, and they're both 100% on board to help get this pushed as well.
Thank you, Brian. Anybody additional commentary, thoughts, questions? Belinda?
Yeah, I can assist also.
So hearing 3 persons there, is this the place? And I don't know if, Doug, Ashley, we need to go into motion seconds and approvals on taking on task, or are we in a position to kind of self-declare some work action items and work groups?
You know, we're not forming like a formal subcommittee, so I don't think we have to go into motions, Jim. writing all this down, and Ashley and I will reach out and try to help coordinate getting folks together to start the discussions.
Okay, super. And Ron, I'll turn to you.
Hey, y'all. First of all, I want to respect the work that's been done here. And, you know, as in the catch-up process goes, I have a question.
Please.
In the data section and the goals, I'm reading the goals and how to support the goals. And what's, for the sake of using the same word a million times, what's the ultimate goal of that section? And does this body have the positioning and authority to make that goal happen?
Great question. I'll start with one of our first activities was to look at the variety of collected data for all of the youth programs themselves. And I think it was 17 plus pages. Each program itself had a different set of items that it was collecting. And then the practitioners in those areas were saying, but it would be nice to know these things. And so we were kind of crosswalking the multitude of programs and realizing that data was not consistently being collected across all the programs, nor was there a sort of a hierarchy or scaffolding of the data in order to make kind of equitable decisions across the multitude of programs that were involved. Belinda, I'll ask you to contribute there, please.
Yeah, just to back up to a little bit farther for those of us who are older in the state of Oregon, most of our best practices in youth programs were data-driven based upon risk and protective factors from Hawkins and Catalano when we started the prevention programs. And so backing up to having real data-driven best practice programs, and especially if people are getting money from the state, we were all required to have those best practice replicable programs. So in every county that we were in, I was in Harney County at the time, we were gathering that data from that county of what those risk factors were and what protective factors that we could put in place for the best success for youth. And a lot of that was finding out youth suicide driven by academic failure, you know, by transitions and mobility. So all of those factors that we need from a community, that we gather from the community to really drive what prevention programs that we put down or what education programs or wraparound services that we put down. So backing up to get a baseline of data is really, really important for the communities that we serve. And then hopefully we're responsible and reactive. Our response is relevant to what the community needs. So that data is important to see if we're hitting our goals and we're actually reducing those risk factors or reducing recidivism, or we're helping the youth be more successful in school, or actually with apprenticeship programs and what we're doing now, having safety nets for maybe some of those youth that aren't doing that well in school and getting on CTE or technical trade. So that's the baseline of data that we need to drive the relevance of what we're providing.
Thank you, Belinda. This is Jim. I think another outcome that is crucial is that ability to find out how youth participating in these programs then progress into new training, new educational opportunity, and into employment, which is a big disconnect in the long-term outcomes of any and all of our work. Is what are they doing in their future? Doug?
Yeah, and Rana, you know, to the part about what authority does the board have to make this happen? If we come up with a recommendation as a board, some of the reporting requirements are dictated in statute, which is challenging because it's harder to change statute than anything. But so there are some statutory requirements around the data, and then there's some very unique program-specific units of data that we collect. So like with the Oregon Conservation Corps, we're looking at acres treated, number of sites treated for fire mitigation. We're not looking at that with our other youth programs. So there's some very program specific data that has to be collected. But really, again, the purpose of this board is to advise the agency on how to best run these programs and to make sure that we're serving the right folks and that we're gathering the right data. So while it may not be in statute that the board has the power to, the board does have the power to make the recommendations, and the HEC is responsible to listen to that. So if that helps at all.
Any additional thoughts, comments, or follow-up? Are there persons who feel energized that this is your place, this is the space that you want to be invested in? And maybe what we could do now, we know the remaining topics. Ashley, if we can go ahead and clear the screen and we'll just be faces on, it'd be great. Thank you. If no one is jumping out right now on that topic, we can move to Oregon Employability Skills or Education Forum, Youth Summit as another conversation point. Double check in chat, make sure I'm not missing something by anybody. Okay, no one's jumping forward on that. So how about we stay in the order of the vote today, which was Youth Summit and Education Forum. Thoughts, comments? There was little detail on the board goals sheet, so it is open for discussion and sharing and creative brainstorming. Brooke?
I can't remember who originally brought this up as a suggestion, but I am struggling to remember what our goal with what this one was, other than convening youth. I remember that part, but I can't remember the rest of what we talked about with this one.
I was a part of that conversation, if not the person who brought it up, with our small team. I am an advocate of working with existing gatherings and programs to create greater connection to that which also exists somewhere else. So we have Working Together Conference, we have the Governor's Leadership Conference, we have the Talent Youth Summit. All of these are places and spaces where the voice of this board has not been a part of, and the groups within this board's work, OCC in particular, are not necessarily present and championed in that larger gathering. It is a constancy of attending these events and afterward hearing, oh, we should have had youth here. We should have had youth here. We should have had youth here. So to create an arm, an extension of any of these existing gatherings, rather than building anything new, but just to have an extension attached to a gathering or a theme or a topic attached to the gathering, whereby we could bring the youth in, have that share, that demonstration, that learning, but also bring in the practitioners, the staff, and those folks who are doing the work in the field to have the conversation with people who are making the decisions, whether it's legislative or even local civic government, and our business and industry partners, which are our destination for so many of the young persons coming out of these programs. So that was the thinking in terms of like, let's maximize what already exists, lean into partnerships that exist, and just continue to create that puzzle work tapestry across the state.
Thank you.
Yep. So it is a place of passion for me. So when it comes down to saying I want to participate in, Jim wants his name on Youth Summit Education Forum in some way, shape, or form. Are there anyone else who'd like to offer comments, ask questions about that topic?
I wonder if this is also an opportunity to tap into workforce board youth providers. So like for Clackamas Workforce Partnership, Ant Farm is their youth provider. And they're doing a whole host of amazing work and have amazing kiddos coming out of that. Anyway, so that could be an opportunity to make sure that we're tapping into those folks who are already part of the workforce system as well.
Okay, Oregon employability skills as a topic. Comments, thoughts, questions? We had a presentation from Charlie Hopewell. Many of us have seen the program at work in our areas.
Doug, am I remembering correctly? This is Brooke, I'm sorry. That they needed additional funding to keep moving this work forward. Am I remembering that right? Like they've done the base work, but I thought I remembered Charlie saying they needed additional funding to move additional tranches of work forward.
This is Doug. He did say that, but I think some things have happened since then. They lost their funding for like a full-time position to support it, and I think they've found ways to help support it in little pockets. So I don't know that that's necessarily true. I don't want to misspeak, but I do know that the situation has changed since he presented to the committee, to the board.
Belinda?
Yeah, I would just offer myself too for a youth summit, and then looking at the various communities that we serve. I know one of the things that's missing in our data is our Native American students and youth, because we don't have enough percentage for them to be counted out in the public school system. So Marco and I actually just presented to 40 youth out in Pendleton, Umatilla Reservation, that has their own school, and just a whole segment of youth there that I know struggle in the public school systems, along with our Latino youth. And just in this administration, we're facing some issues in regards to how do we sensitively serve that youth population in, I'll say it, equitable manner. And how do we get the data for those youth? And so I know for our Native American youth programs, the work that we're doing across the state now, I'm really interested in Youth Summit, that the piece of it that would focus on in Native Americans, the 9 federally recognized tribes.
Thank you so much. With regard to OES and funding, what I have heard from colleagues at ODE is that some part-time support was, part-time funding was allowed to keep Sherry Clark in the process and program. I do not know how long that will last. I believe that is potentially to the close of this calendar year. The body of work that was built is housed at Willamette ESD. Willamette ESD is committed to keeping that alive and functioning so people have access to all those resources. The loss of additional funds means that there's not a lot of additional development being done around it, although Sherry is amazing and continues to just pour her heart into it. She's building out more and more the OES for business. So while the OES, as it was originally constructed, is for youth in schools and programs, business is so excited about it that they're asking for that to be generated into in the workplace training opportunities with the same program. And so that again creates a system alignment for youth in schools and programs, potentially moving into business that are in the same OES network. So I think my goal is to quiet myself up and listen to more voices speak to any of these topics, please. And for us to drive towards a place where we have that 2 to 3 persons on each topic line, so that Doug and Ashley can begin bringing us together in those small work groups to achieve forward momentum. So I'm going to be quiet for a bit and open the space for people to speak into these items and your personal desires to engage.
Jim, and if I could just add real quickly too, I don't want folks to feel pressure. I mean, people's time is very valuable, and I mean, these were the items that we had identified at the last meeting. And if today doesn't feel like the data to say, oh yeah, I'm going to pour, extra time into this, or this, I think that's okay. I think so long as we're moving forward a few of these, that's fine. I just don't want folks to feel pressure that they have to jump on and sign on any one of these today. If that's all right with you, Jim and Brooke.
Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate you lifting that. Paola?
Yeah, I just also wanted to say, I'm also very more than happy to go in whatever group is going to make more sense or that needs people to collectively like get things done as well. So I'm really quite happy to do whatever. So I just want to let you guys know that I'm flexible on that.
Grateful for that. Thank you very much.
Hey, this is Davey. Yeah, similar. I'm pretty flexible. The OES is sticking out to me at the moment. I may want to discuss a little further, maybe with Doug offline, but I'm pretty happy to just kind of get moved around where I can be most of help.
Thank you, Davey.
Can I get a clarification, Belinda, from you? You were talking about wanting to be on the data group. You also were talking about the Native American data, and I wasn't quite clear. Were you wanting to be a part of the summit and the convening and the data, or just the summit and the convening?
I am not a data person. However, I do very much value the people that are. I would be more useful in the summit development of that, and definitely there's people out there that do the whole data system and collection of data better than myself. Hillary has been doing an amazing job. What my concern is about the data is the standardized tools. When we were doing it long ago and far away, Doug, we had that standardized tool that we were all collecting the same data and reporting, so it was standardized. Now I know the tools are different, so it's finding that standardized tool that's going to really help us, and then collecting data from those populations that fall through the cracks all the time. So that's my 2 cents on data. I am not your data person.
Rana, to you.
I'd like to be on the data section, but before I fully commit, I want to make sure that does this committee have the latitude to adjust some of these sub goals, or is this our commandments?
In my Doug, you want to
go? Go ahead, Jim.
In my estimation, these are notes that were collected from the time together in April that were the collective and creative brainstorming, and so I think there is room and capacity for shifting, and there's so much more deep dive that needs to take place, that to say these are the 3 is really preventing us from being most effective. Yeah, I think the door is open for what more could be done here, or what could be shifted from those original 3. Although I do want to elevate that I think data that proves that we have highly effective programs in order to support the conversation with funders for replicable models or long-term sustaining of programs that are that have data that's showing highly effective, I think was a big energy point for a lot of folks, that how can we continue to hold strong those programs which are effective. Others thoughts on that?
I concur with that. I think from my perspective, in particular, the data piece is really important because everybody is evaluating slightly different things. And so it is challenging to do an apples to apples comparison. And having been involved in the workforce space a long time, I think that there are programs that are likely not getting the elevation that they should be getting for the successes that they're having, because the data collection isn't right, or the way that the success is being measured isn't maybe the way that it should be. And so part of this discussion was really like, how do we find a way to really look at what's happening across the state, and then have that kind of formula, I guess, for how do you really measure progress and improvement. And I'll speak from experience. We have a grant that is related to incarcerated youth, and we just yesterday were talking about this. And if you look at just the data that we're required to report, the number of people who have entered an apprenticeship program after the pre-apprenticeship program versus our total number, if you look at that number is not meeting our target. But then once we did a deeper dive, how many of the people have been released from incarceration in order to actually join the apprenticeship program? And when we recrunched those numbers, we are meeting that goal. We're exceeding that goal. But the way that we're required to report data doesn't capture that nuance. And so those are the types of things, I think, to my point earlier, we miss sometimes, I think, the forest through the trees, or whatever that phrase is, right? Because we may not be looking at things in the way that captures some of the impact of the work.
Okay, this has been healthy and good. Thank you, everybody. Last call out if anybody wants to verbalize in the moment. Otherwise, we know we can reach out to Doug and Ashley, myself and Brooke, if you want to do some more discovery or conversation around these. I think we have enough, Doug, to move forward, and we'll go to like kind of next stages of planning. I've heard a lot in this moment, so I'm not sure that the assigning goal leads is necessary in the moment, since we might want to gather as small groups and maybe leads come out of those smaller gatherings. Would that be acceptable? I see a thumbs up. Acceptable to others? Okay, head nods, thank you. And then those next steps with the goals obviously should potentially be coming from those small work groups. Unless anybody would like to voice anything right now that would kind of be centered around all of them, like anything that you see as a goal, destination, objective of the work of the small groups. And welcome staff voice here, please. Okay, I did my middle school count to 10. I'm going to take a quick pause and lean back into the interns that are here listening and learning. Danny and Micah and Emily, and Matt as your mentor in this process. Do any of you have any questions you would like to ask the persons who've been conversing here alongside of you that you would like to learn a little bit more? Do you have a question that's percolating that you'd like to lift up so we can kind of travel alongside you in the moment? And if not, that is also okay.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think I do either, but this has all been very interesting.
Okay, thank you, Micah. Matt?
Great, and if you can give me 1 minute, I'm just gonna check with Emily if she has
Absolutely.
questions.
Absolutely, do that. Thank you very much. You betcha. Okay, Mr. Doug.
Yeah, I was just going to say too, I don't know when the interns are going to have to peel out of here. I know that they're on a fairly strict timeline on when they need to meet the bus schedule and stuff. But I went through out there, and actually I have a meeting with them tomorrow, just kind of as a debrief about what happened today and really what the board's about and whatever else they would like to pick my brain about. But I would just like to put out there publicly too, if the interns are interested in becoming more involved in this type of work, please reach out and let me know, and we will figure out how to incorporate your voice, whether if it's a full member position or at least as a kind of an advisor, if you will. Please, you're more than welcome, and your voice matters. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Doug. All right, our next thing, we are, no question. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Emily. Interns are heading out at 3 o'clock. All right, so somebody say something that's going to get them to ask some question about all the wonderful things we do. We're on the docket till 3:30. We do not need to be. I will remind everybody that we are still in record mode. We're still in public meeting mode, but we're going to go back to the topic of the October in-person board meeting, and then if time still allows, to do some share outs and shout outs and some growth that's occurring and events happening in your region. So Doug, to you, please, for October in-person board meeting, and then we'll try to have that big share at the tail end.
Yeah, so Doug again. Yeah, I think we're going to have plenty of time left over, Jim. I think this will be a fairly short conversation because I don't want to put people on the spot. But you know, we had the in-person meeting where a lot of folks were able to join. Some folks were not able to join. Certainly a different feel to the meeting. And the really cool component of that in-person meeting was really getting to go out and see the young people and to see what they were doing and see their program and to share breakfast with them. It was pretty powerful. So I would like folks to start thinking about what should that in-person meeting in October look like. We're slating to have it in Bend. I know not everybody is going to be able to make it. But Ron is like, no, you're killing me, man. We will have one. We will have one in Portland. We will figure that out because I think that there is power in getting the most people together as possible. But to be thinking about what do we want to do at that time, because we'll have a significant amount of time like we did last time, where we'll have a meeting that could be 4 or 5 hours and then have a site visit the following day. So to please be thinking about that. And if you could let me know in the next, I don't know, 4 weeks. Ashley's already working on trying to secure hotel and meeting space and go through all those details so that we have that lined up. As far as the in-person meetings, we had talked about doing 2 per year. I think we're going to change that. And that's going to get changed to like 2 biennium. So I think 1 per year is what we're going to be looking at. And the reason for that is that our budgets are just so darn tight. And while there is such value and power in bringing everybody together in person, it's extremely expensive. And so we need to watch where we're spending our dollars and make sure that we're putting as much money into the programs as we can, and not, you know, burning up our dollars in other ways. So I throw that out there. It's very powerful to meet in person, but we'll probably only be able to do it once a year. That's the reality. That's all I had on that, Jim.
Great. I appreciate that, Doug. Okay, so our objective, and I'm assuming we'll get a prompt also, an email prompt, but everybody's been asked to do some outreach, some consideration of how that looks and feels to y'all. Okay. And October 9 is the week that we're showing. Yep.
That's what's on the calendar.
Okay. Seeing 2 possible not able to attend now. Will be October 15th, 16th. Okay, so we'll also invest some energy on the day. Maybe we could consider a doodle poll for that time frame and get the best data we have there. Okay, thank you. Share outs, shout outs, what's going on? So let's move into it. Everybody gets to contribute. And in fact, interns, you can go first if you want to. Is there something really cool in your life related to your learning and living and doing and becoming, and especially around this, like, because we're focused on youth learning and working to learn and all those things. So the door is open to you first if you'd like to share anything that's big in your world that you'd like to share with folks. And then let's jump in. What's going on in your region? What's happening in your program work? Share outs and shout outs. And then if I hear silence, I'm going to start throwing stuff in the chat. Okay, doors open.
I'm just kind of curious, what can I get an example? Because I'm a little confused on how to answer that.
Sure. Okay, I will start, and I will describe to you something that I saw 2 weeks ago. I was able to go attend. So Danny asked the question, correct? So I'm Jim Taylor, Danny. I work at a division of Oregon Housing called Disaster Recovery. And in that work, my job is to rebuild homes for wildfire survivors. And my team is currently working on rebuilding 500 homes of the 4,326 homes that burned in September of 2020. So we have 500 families who are still not in their homes from that fire, and my team is rebuilding. One of the reasons I'm involved in this group is because one of our big problems is we don't have enough young people entering the building trades that we can keep up with home building. Not only those who lost their homes in fire, but just regular need to build and want to build a home. We don't have enough people to do it. So that's an area that I'm focused on. When I rebuild a home that was lost to fire, I rebuild it at a new standard. It is built with fire hardened materials on the sides and on the roof. And as I was joking with Hillary earlier, when I build a home, I put rock around the home for 5 feet instead of bark dust. And I don't put plants up against the home. I put them 10 feet, 15 feet, and 30 feet away from the home so that if they catch on fire, they don't end up catching the home on fire. So we call those fire-wise building practices. And so I was able to attend an event where we built a miniature traditional home next to a miniature fire-wise home. And we started the bark dust and fire in front of those two homes. And an hour later, the traditional home was burned to the ground in ashes, and the fire-hardened home was still standing with not even a mark on it, even while the home next to it was burning rapidly. So I will share some data in the chat with folks, and we're working now. So as I go out with builders and I'm like, okay, we're going to build this home, but we're going to do a bunch of different stuff. They're like, why? The way we build a home is fine right now. People just need to clean up their yard, or, we need to just stop the fires. Well, the reality is the number one cause of a fire in a neighborhood during these wildfire storms is an ember going through a window or a door, or going into a vent into the attic. And so the things that we do don't cost a lot much more, and we just need to do them to create this protected environment. So that is an example of something big in my world, and it involves the youth, because now the youth that are helping me build sheds and shelters for people in disaster response are building them Firewise, so that they learn how to build the Firewise home now in training, so they'll do it as part of regular work. So that's my share, and I'll put some items in the chat for folks, and then I'll pass it to Hillary, then I'll pass it to Brooke.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it, Jim. Not to hammer in the fire stuff, but since that's also kind of my world, I'll share my fun fact and win too. Oregon Conservation Corps, as Doug mentioned earlier, was able to receive $5 million from this year's legislative session. And I had a meeting yesterday with our partners at Oregon State Fire Marshal and Oregon Department of Forestry to talk about how we're going to continue to work together. And both of those agencies also received longer term dollars for commitments to mitigation related work. So I'm really excited to see how we can kind of keep braiding funds, keep partnering with these other agencies, and through our work with Oregon Conservation Corps, continue to train folks that can fill these roles that are really needed in these additional state agencies. I'm super excited. And then my other quick one is that I met a neighbor last night that said that some youth from CTEC built a house literally down my street, and then it was purchased by a legislator originally from Grants Pass, and it was built to our exceptional fire code, like Class A materials. And he was just really proud to purchase the house, and really impressed with the work that was done by those youth through CTEC. So young people are doing really exceptional things, gaining skills that are going to help them long term, and ultimately produce better not only houses, but also like stronger communities for us to live in. So just another reminder of a day-to-day thing that's like, gosh, we're doing, folks are out there doing great work. I should not say we because I'm not the one doing the work, but our partners and the people that we fund are doing really exceptional work. So yeah, it's good. And it looks like Brooke's next.
That is a little bit hard to follow. I am the executive director of a coalition called the Oregon Clean Energy Workforce Coalition, which is organizations around the state that are dedicated to building the clean energy workforce of the future. Jim's comments about the not enough young people in the trades thing is a real thing for the clean energy sector. We need lots of people in the trades to support building out all the infrastructure that we need. And we have the Jobs for the Future CEO coming to our coalition meeting next week, which is a really big deal. So Jobs for the Future is a national nonprofit that is focused on workforce development. They do a lot of work with the U.S. Department of Labor and on policy at the federal level. And we are the only location that is being selected for her to come visit. So we are super excited.
Brian, I think it's off to you. Thank you, Brooke.
Yeah, thanks, Brooke. And I wasn't going to bring this up, but since you mentioned it, I will. I get to have the pleasure of being on a subcommittee of that Clean Energy Coalition, and we are working on recommendations for clean energy CTE programs, and that is really cool, and I'm really loving it. And the conversations have been awesome. And in addition to that, I also get to administer a maritime workforce grant. If anybody heard Rena and I talking a little bit about it earlier. And within that, we have a number of grantees along the coast, of course, and elsewhere. But there is a Pacific Northwest Marine Expo in Seattle every year. And last year I went, and the director of the Southwest Oregon Workforce Investment Board went, as well as the Marine rep for Northwest Oregon Works, which is on the northern coast. And we got to see a lot of sessions and get a lot of information, primarily from places, in fact, entirely from places other than Oregon. It was great stuff, but it's like, man, I wish we could promote all the cool stuff that these local areas are doing in Oregon. And then this year, I saw an email from them that had requests for submissions for presenting. So I reached out to SOWIB and now and said, hey, you guys want to come up with something so we can promote all the stuff that's going on within Oregon and Oregon Maritime Workforce? And they said, yeah. And we just received notice that we get to do a session in conjunction with Washington's Sea Grant program, which is also cool because, of course, they have a lot more maritime going on than we do. So I'll get to pick their brain and make a connection. But I'm just really excited to get in front of this huge maritime crowd and talk about all the cool stuff that all our grantees are doing and developing for youth and adult workers in Oregon. So I'm really enjoying that.
Rena, to you, please. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Jim. Again, Rena Langston. I'm with the Southwestern Oregon Workforce Investment Board, serving Coos, Curry, and Douglas counties. And we were awarded through the HEC a Build grant. So we're really excited about that. I'm going to focus on the trades. So looking at construction skills with young adults and hoping to put together some pre-apprenticeship opportunities and build that workforce. Jim, there are too many folks in the trades that are retiring, and we really need to promote it to our young people as a great opportunity that's outside of a traditional college. If traditional college is not their thing, then the trades are definitely an opportunity for them to learn and provide a living wage for their families.
Wonderful. Thank you. Who's got some share outs? Keep them coming. This is next meeting. We're starting with this. This is the energy I love. This is why getting together is so fun. Belinda.
Yeah, one of the things that Doug had asked me to share out about is the funding at the national level, and then the name of what they're naming the new youth programs out of the Department of Interior. It's going to be the A250 Patriot Program, and it's Making America Skilled Again. So with this current administration, we're getting a lot of support in executive memos for the apprenticeship program. So Lomacatsi, kind of seeing the writing on the wall, took us a year to get our forest and conservation specialist apprenticeship occupation approved by the Department of Labor. And now we're working through the BOLI pre-apprenticeship program for forest and conservation specialists in California and Oregon. However, that pivot under the Patriot program is very real, as AmeriCorps is no longer at the top of the list. All of the administration is taking away Justice 40. So, you know, as we scrub our websites and as we prepare and position ourselves for this new administration, I told them as long as the eagle carries the flag, I'm in. So Patriot Program A250, it's America's 250th Declaration of Independence anniversary next July. And for 3 years, all those pilot programs are going to be under that banner. So A250 Patriot Program, Making America Skilled Again. And hopefully we're in the right place, right time with the right people to be successful with the apprenticeship program that Lomacatsi has to roll out.
Thank you so much, Belinda. Appreciate that. And Doug, to you, please.
Yeah, and maybe just to build off that just a little bit, you know, talking about what our goals are and our sub goals are, and realize that, you know, we have to be fluid and we have to be flexible. You know, what Belinda's talking about is, it's kind of a major shift, but then it's kind of not. It's kind of a renaming. It's kind of a combining, and we don't know where the workforce programs at the federal level are going to land completely. We're getting a good hint through the Make America Skilled Again initiative of where they could land. What that does with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, we don't know. What we do know is that there's going to be an increased focus on apprenticeship. And how that hits Oregon, we don't know yet. So there are a lot of unknowns. And so these might be things that we find ourselves tackling in 6 months of, wow, things have really shifted. How do we make sure that our programs are shifting to leverage these additional dollars that are out there? And then the only other thing I wanted to mention too, and Hillary and I haven't really talked about this at all, and we need to, but you know, we did receive the $5 million for the Oregon Conservation Corps, which is such a blessing. Hillary, what did you have? 15 million in applications roughly that came in for that 5 million. We were hoping for at least a base of 10 million. And so there's a pretty big gap in the need that's out there. And what do we do about that? And what does this board want to do about that? Do we want to try to look at, you know, new legislative action in the 2027 session? Do we want to look at a more coordinated fundraising and what's the word I'm looking for? It's gone. My brain's dead. But anyway, we may want to jump into some of those conversations too, and to try to figure out how to fill that gap that now exists. So just a couple of things to throw out for folks to think about. So, thank you, Jim.
Yeah, let's open that up for conversation, discussion. People have thoughts, comments around anything shared thus far, but around that idea of fundraising. Are there first thing that comes to mind is the capacity with which the board is allowed to pursue that as a means of supporting our programs. I'll be among the first to say I'm in if that's a possibility. What are the processes and procedures we could start following to make that potentially happen, whether it's a legislative pathway or if it's in the philanthropic or private or grant writing, grant receiving world. Thoughts from folks?
Jim, I think just at a technical level, more to come. We'll figure out at the agency level what our staffing capacity is, and kind of get back to folks. But the way the legislation is written currently, which we were wanting to change it around, not to take anything away from the board, but the way the original legislation was written intermixes what the board shall do and what the agency shall do, and in a lot of ways, the board doesn't have the capacity or the means to make grants, for example. So those were some of the cleanups we were going to do. Fundraising is in there, and it is a function that the board is allowed to do. There is an account that is still set up with the Oregon Community Foundation. It's under the control, I guess you'd say, of Senator Jeff Golden. We've partnered with Jeff and with OCF in the past when we had a fundraising campaign, and the account's still there. So there's just discussions to be had. I think more to come once we know where staff stand and where the agency stands.
We could look forward then to some form of update at the next meeting.
Hillary will have a beautiful PowerPoint. She'll have refreshments for us.
Okay, hang on. This is Hillary. I don't know about refreshments. I can do a PowerPoint. I do love a PowerPoint.
I feel like maybe we're not quite there yet with the PowerPoint, but I can share a little bit just from the agency level, mainly because of two factors. One is that Hillary and I just talked about this yesterday, and the other is in the area of successes, everybody that is an Oregon Youth Works program grant administrator has been preparing and getting ready to launch the new biennium before the old biennium was finished, right? So everyone has had, all of our grant agreements are ready to rock and roll as soon as the governor signs the budget. We are just ready to go, right? All we need is the governor to sign the budget, then we can start getting invoiced for the money. So because of that, we've had a lot of discussions over the past 2 weeks about the spending plans for each of these budgets, right? For the OYC, the Youth Corps, the OYEP and WIOA, and then, of course, with Hillary's in the OCC. And as I'm looking at all of these holistically, we have certain bodies of things that we have to fund collectively. And that's one of the things we're thinking about, like funding the board activities and things like that. If there's stipends or travel needed for in-person meetings and things like that, we need to look at our spending plans to think about how we can do that collectively. One of the other things is several of us, we are funded, our time is funded from different accounts. So we look at collectively, how do we fund the individuals on our team? But the biggest thing that we are thinking about and that Hillary and I talked about was if she got half of the funding that she needs, and she has, she got half of the funding that she needs to keep it at current service level. That doesn't even go into the $15 million that she was asked for, right? So she has a gap of kind of $10 million if you think about it that way. So we have talked about what does fundraising look like. We have done this before. It was not easy. It was happening right as I started this position. And as Doug said, we have this OCF account. How can we leverage that and leverage some of the expertise and maybe pivot some of the staff time to be able to focus on that? And we have other folks on staff that are also thinking about this, looking at DOL grants, looking at BLM opportunities, things like that to be able to supplement not just the OCC work, but some of the other good work that we're doing and that we're hearing a need from the communities that we're serving. So just so you know where we are as far as like the staff conversations that we're having, we are talking about fundraising and what that means. I think in my mind, the role of the board is as an advisory capacity, right? That, hey, this is what we're thinking about. What do you all think? What is your advice on this? How do we leverage your networks and connections and your knowledge of what's happening in communities and where funding is needed? So that's my take on it from like our agency side, and then also how I could see the board really being an asset as we're moving forward with talking about these fundraising conversations. Also know, I've not talked to our OE director about this yet. This is just seeds that have been planted this week as we've been reviewing budgets and thinking about what's next and what we're going to dig into and prioritize for this next biennium. hopefully that's helpful.
Very helpful. This is Hillary. May I add one other comment to that, which is just that as part of any fundraising or grant making effort or grant application effort too, the other thing that the HEC is always considering is where are we the best applicant or like the best route versus like where would it just be better for our current grantees and partners to apply. So we're trying to never compete with our existing partners. So some of that is like, for example, a recent BLM announcement for funding came up where it made more sense for our grantees, some of our grantees to apply directly for that versus the HEC applying directly for that. So we're also trying to consider those things as well. So there are some grant opportunities that make sense for HEC to apply for rather than individual partners to apply for. And similarly, there are, sometimes better or stronger relationships with private sector for fundraising or partnerships versus the HEC getting involved. So we're also trying to just help support or bolster existing work. Like ultimately our concern is the work happening, not the legacy of the program, but like the work taking place on the ground, keeping people employed, keeping people trained for the type of work. So we've seen some really exceptional success in this. Belinda and Lomacotsi Restoration Project have done some really exceptional work with leveraging OCC funds to expand their work with U.S. Forest Service, BLM, Indian Youth Service Corps. Ant Farm, who's one of our OCC grantees, has done some really great partnership expansion work through PGE, where they're working on training folks directly to learn the skills needed for the PGE maintenance and service type of work, and working in conjunction with those folks. So we're really trying to be mindful of when and how it makes the most sense for HEC to be fundraising and raising grants versus when our partners could be doing that independently. So there's a little bit of delicacy in that regard as well, because we don't want to overstep any boundaries or become a middleman where it's not necessary. But obviously we know that there's still a deficit, as Miranda mentioned, that we were expecting 15 million and got, essentially 5. So we'll continue to try to bolster that and continue to keep pushing money out the door as we can fundraise or find additional grant dollars to push out to folks.
Super. Thank you both so very much. Okay, last call for comments, questions, share outs.
Yeah, Jim, I would just like to go back to the data. And again, I'm not the data person, but I've been in a lot of situations where data has saved us and driven us. And I mean, even going through some of what's coming out right now, it's going to be how many people that were in the CTA program got jobs, how many started their own businesses. So again, I don't know how we're collecting that data across the state. In some of the national groups that I'm in right now, I'm saying the same thing with having some standardized tool that we could be using, that we're all plugging our data into the same system and we're getting the outcomes that we know that we're doing good work in those communities, but we're actually able to show it and have that data to justify our existence with all these programs that we're doing right now, because we are under the light. All these programs are under scrutiny right now. I do believe we can rise to the occasion in Oregon, and it's going to be a matter of how well we organize our information, and especially at the national level, get it back there packaged in a way that they can continue to fund us, or that we're a shining example of how this can be done innovatively. So again, we're going back to the data, how we collect it, what we're collecting, how we're presenting it and packaging it. And that is really important in this time that we're in.
Thank you so much. Yes. Ashley, Doug, final check-in with you on any processes, procedures, protocols.
Nothing here.
All right.
I don't have anything either.
All right. I'd like to extend gratitude. Board members, thank you for your time and service and talent and commitment to this work. Staff, for your support of those programs, and leaders and young people that are out there doing the good work all across. So grateful to have our interns with us today, that you can listen and learn, and that we can connect with you. And we look forward to having the opportunity to have you back with us in the future and engage in all these things. Thanks for the work that's coming, folks that have said yes to some of the smaller action items that we can collectively bring as a big impact in our work together. To Ashley and Doug, as always, for the massive amounts of preparation and planning that go into getting this ready. Thank you, thank you. And in all the work that's coming for the next gathering, let's make it happen live. We appreciate it. So, any shout outs anybody like to extend before I ask for a motion to close? Okay, open for a motion to close.
So moved.
Brooke motions to close. May I have a second?
I'll second this, Rena.
Rena, thank you for second. All those in favor of closing, a thumbs up on screen or with your react button. All right. We are closed. Wishing everybody a safe, happy, healthy weekend ahead. And the recording is about to stop. Take good care, everybody.
Thank you.